Question number 20. It is given that Q, and I see a matrix, and R, and I see another matrix. Okay, so find Q plus R. Now, again, I want to first take you to the textbook, to matrices. So let's just go question 20, just the basics. Okay, and I'm in book 2, part 2, page 558. I'm at example 4. Can you see? Now, all that I want to show you here is it's just working like vectors. So it's just the same positions that I count. So I will just add all that positions. Do you see that? And then I will just add all that positions. And so I go on. Okay, and then I just add all that positions. And I do exactly the same when I come to this, this, and this. And then I just, so it must be exactly, so the same amount of rows and the same amount of columns. Okay, so let's just go back to, that was, as I said, I just wanted to show you, and I think I see to you the paper was page 558. Now let's go back to the question paper. Okay. Oh, I don't want to make bigger, I want to make smaller. I just want to move it. Okay. Okay, so let's just start. So in this case, I'm just going to rewrite it quickly, and I'm just going to say -4, 2, 3, -2, plus 0, 5, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to start. So then it's -4, the same position. Do you see? 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. -2 plus 3 is 1. And I just fill it in. -4, 7, 5, and 1. And again, I will just get 2 marks if my positions are correct. So 1 mark if 2 correct, incorrect position. So if there's 2 that's in the correct position. Otherwise, 2 marks. Now, this can be a bit more challenging. Find Q, that's the inverse. That's the sign for the inverse of Q. Okay, again, I want to take you to the textbook. So if I go to the textbook, 20B, it's still book 2, part 2, and that's on page 567. And there I showed you inverse matrices. And I'm just going to just quickly go. So basically, I just want to show you here, this is the formula, and I'm going to just, and then I can just do one. But there is the formula. Now, that is the determinant. In vectors, can you still remember what was it? It was the magnitude. But in matrices, if they make this bars, it's the determinant. Now, can you still remember how did we find the determinant? I showed you in a previous. It's where I just want to quickly bring that into you. Okay, no, it's here. It's fine, as long as I just see it somewhere. Okay, I'll show you now. So basically, let's just do this one. Now, first, and I'm going to do it here on the side. If I want to find the determinant, okay, of A. Now, if it was the matrices for 1, -3, and 2. Now, do you see? It's 4, so I take this 2. And I multiply it. I start with the top, multiply. So it's going to be 4 times 2. Do you see? I subtract and I take this 2 and I multiply it. So -3 times 1. Okay. And that is going to give me then, if I simplify that, I'm going to get, in this case, 8 minus, just be careful of your signs here. So it's going to be 8 plus 3. And what is that going to be? 11. So in this case, if I want to find the inverse thing, it's 1 over 11. Do you see? 1 over 11. So 1 over the determinant. Then just see what I do here. I take, that was the original. So I'm taking this 2 and I swap it. So I write this one there and this one there. And then this I keep in the same position. Just want to show you. I just want to get a rubber. So this 2 I keep in the same position, but I change the signs. So this 2 I swap, this 2 I just change the signs. So let's do that. So if I look at that, I'm going to swap that 2. Do you see? So I'm going to say 2, 4, and I change the signs. So -1 plus 3. And if you look there, that's what you got there. Okay. And then I'm just going to multiply. This is a scalar. And if I multiply it in, I'm just going to get 2 over 11, -1 over 11, 3 over 11, 4 over 11. And that's how I find it. Okay, so it's really not that challenging. But if you want, just look for a few examples. But here on page 5, 6, 7. I did it also with B and also with C. Okay. Just check this C before I go. If the determinant is 0, then you just say it don't exist. So just take note of that C. Let's go back to the question paper. Okay, so I'm going to do Q. So let's just write down. So, okay, let me just copy Q for you. This is Q. And it's going to be -4, 2, and it's 3 and -2. So let's just first get the determinant of Q. Okay, so that means like this. So can you remember what I did? I took this 2 and I multiply it. So it's going to be -4 times -2. And I subtract, it's always subtract. And I take this 2 and I multiply it. So I'll just get blue again. It's 2 times 3. So I'm basically going to get 8 minus 6. And 8 minus, oh no, I'm taking my space so much. Okay, I just want to don't take my space so much. So it's 8 minus 6, and that is going to be 2. So what is the determinant? It's 2. And now I'm starting with the inverse. So to find the inverse, can you remember? It's 1 over the determinant. So it's 1 over 2. And then I take this 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do? I'm going to swap this 2. So it's -2, -4. Can you remember? I change this 2 signs. So it's -2. I keep the position, -3. And now I'm just going to quickly, just want to get this negative correct there. And then I'm just multiply that scalar in. So -2 times a half is -1. -2 times a half is -1. -3 times 2, it's either -3 over 2 or -1.5. Doesn't matter. And then -4 times 2 is -2. And then I'm just rewriting that. So it's -1, -1. I just write the other form, say -3 over 2. Both is correct. And -2. Okay. And again, if I read at the memo, what are they saying? So I'm looking at 20B. It's just they're going to give you 1 mark if you came to this. If you come to this, they're going to give you 1 mark. Okay. Or if you got the determinant. So it's either this or this and then the final mark. Okay. It's really not so difficult. It's as I said, maybe new from 8 to 9. But just go through the basics and just at least be able to handle the basics. Let's just look at this question, question 21. The diagram shows a circle with center ABC is 60. Okay, so it's circles, it's geometry. If I'm taking you back to the textbook, I'm going to take you to 21, chapter 8, part 1, book 1. I just want to make it bigger. Page 377, do you see that? Part 1, chapter 8, angle properties. Okay, so if you look at that, that is the property I'm going to use. It's angle to the center, angle to the circumference. And I'm going to do this example 21 with you. It looks a little bit different, but so it's actually a good example. But it's also, can you see, can I just show you? It's angle to the center. Okay, let's just get and angle to the circumference. Okay, so if I look there, so always remember the one in the center is twice as big as the one at the circumference. Okay, So it means that if this is 38, then this will be 2 times 38, this is 76. Okay. Naja, but if they come and they then ask you, and I think that is what's happening there, and then they ask you to find this one, what will you do then? Then you're just going to say 180, not 180, a revolution is how many degrees? 360. 360 minus that 76. Okay, but in that case, they didn't ask you, they find out for ask angle ADC. Let's just see. Where is ADC? So basically, I'm just going to say this was the exterior angle. So I had that one. That one was now 76. That is 30. So I can work out this one, the third angle of the triangle. Do you see? And then as soon as I had that one, so it's ADC, then I can work with vertical opposite. And that's what I did there. Okay. Or it seems to me what I did in that one, I just work with the exterior angle of a triangle, okay? And the exterior is equal to the two opposite interior angles. So it was also that one to get that one. Okay. As I said, when it comes to angles, there's almost like there's a lot of roads to Rome, a lot of roads to Santiago. So it doesn't matter what road, as long as you arrive. Okay, so let's just go back to the example. The example is easier. Okay, let's just check here. It's just angles. And it's, as I said, it's actually nice. It's just know your properties when it comes to angles. The diagram shows a circle. ABC is 60. Okay, so it's angle to the center. Do you see there? Angle to the center, angle to the circumference. So you already know that that will be 120. Now remember what I said in angles. You work out angles even if they don't ask it. Just find your way to the angle that they ask. Work as many as possible out. It's going to help you. Because as soon as you come to that angle, then you can say, oh, but this is a revolution. So this is going to be, to find angle T, it's going to be 360 minus that 120. And that is going to be 240. So that is going to be 240 degrees. And that was how you do question number 21. Let's just go to the next page. Okay, let's start. Okay, this one, it was so basic. I didn't even take it to the textbook because it's very, very basic. Don't spend P on food and Q on a drink. Write an expression P for the total. Now, if you struggle in terms of alphabet letters, just think for yourself. If you say, okay, he spent 20 on food and he spent 10 on a drink, what is the total? Well, you would have just added and get 30 if it was possible to add. But in this case, it's just not possible because it's unlike terms, it's algebra. So basically, it's just P plus Q. And I cannot add it because it's algebra and it's unlike terms. But that's what I must do. I must just add the two. Very, very basic. Okay. Maybe I'll just take you to the previous question. I just want to show you where would they gave the mark. I didn't maybe show you there. If they saw 120, if they saw you got 120, they would have gave you a mark and the other one for the answer. Okay, so that was for that. Now, the next question. The first 4 terms of a sequence is this. Okay, I'm at sequences in chapter 5 in the textbook. Right on the next. So let me take you to that textbook, to that page. I just go to page 210 and I'll tell you why, because it's just very, very basic sequences. It's just to show you, you must just determine now, is it an AP or is it a GP? That's all. Now, how do I do that? If it's an AP, I will take T3, term 3, and subtract 2, get the same answer. Term 2, so take the front and subtract the back. If I get the same answer every time, it's an AP. If it's a GP, I will divide the front with the back, and get the same. And that's all I wanted you to see at that page. So now I'm going to take you back to the question paper. So let's just see. Okay, so this is now term 1, this is term 2, this is term 3. So you can, I'm going to start with my AP. So let's test AP. I'm just going to say T2 minus T1, is that equal to T3 minus T2? You don't have to write it down. So that is going to just be 9 minus 4. Is that equal to 14 minus 9? Yes, 5 is equal to 5. This is AP. So therefore, AP. What is the next term? So every time I can already see, you could have, and as I said, you didn't even have to do all the trouble. You could have just see, oh, I see what they're doing. They add 5 every time. That's the pattern. So if I add 5, 5 plus 19, that will be 24. Very, very simple. But now I know it's an AP, so I'm going to use the formula for an AP to find the nth term. Now I'm just going to take you again just to get that formula, because in this question paper they don't give formulas. Next year when you do AS level, it's going to be so many formulas, and then they give you a formula sheet. But for this, no formulas. You don't do so many formulas here. Okay. So let's just go back, and this is the formula to find the Tn term. Okay, I asked you the term, but now they just ask you the end. So I'm just going to use this formula. Can I just show you? It's just this formula that so A is the first term, D is that what they add every time, 5. And then if I don't know the value of n, I leave it n minus 1. If I know the value of n, like in this case, they ask for 10 terms, then I put it in. Otherwise, I just simplify the algebra. Okay, so just remember, this is the formula that I'm going to use. So let's just go back. Okay, so let's just go back to the question paper. Next. Okay, so if I go back, now remember the formula, it's Tn equals A plus, I prefer putting the D in front, but it doesn't matter, you can also put it at the back. Now what is A? I know A is 5, that's the first term. I know what's D. D is that value I got there. So I know that D is 5. Oh, sorry. A is not 5. Do you see my mistake? Let's just correct it. Maybe you saw that. That's excellent. Okay, D is 5. So I think here also, that was, what was the value of A? I think there stand so many things that I made a mistake. Okay, that was the value of A. Okay, D was 5. So A was 4. And then I'm just going to put it in. So in the place of D, I'm going to put 5. And then n minus 1. So that's going to be 4 plus 5n minus 5. And that's 5n. And negative 5 plus 4 is going to be negative 1. And that's the formula. Tn equals 5n minus 1. Okay. And that's how I'm going to do that one. Let's just do the last question on this page. Oh, I can see this is a sphere. It's a half sphere. So find the volume of this hemisphere. Hemi means half. You can see it's a half. They helped you. They gave you a picture. But let's just go to the textbook. They even gave you the formula. So I don't even think it's necessary to go to the textbook. But just to show you where it is in the textbook, I'm just going to show you 24. In the textbook, you will find it. And here it is. So page 5 to 6. Do you see? There you will see sphere. There's the formula also. And the volume of the ball, and it's basically just substitution. You can either use pi of your calculator, or as the question paper said in front, 3,142. Okay, so doesn't matter which one you're going to use. So let's just go and let's just do that. But that's very, very basic. But I just wanted to show you where to find it in the textbook. This is book 2, so it's part 2. And it's on page 5 to 6, and it's at chapter 10, geometry, measures and mensuration. Okay, so let's just go back to the question paper. And here it is. And I'm just going to do that substitution. So I'm going to write down my formula, but now, because it's half, I just put a half in. Now you can put the other bracket there, doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm going to substitute. What is pi? I make it 3,142. What is the radius? Just be careful. They didn't give you the diameter. Luckily, they gave you the radius. But if they gave you the diameter, you must just divide it by 2. Okay. And now you can basically just press everything on your calculator. If you want, you can simplify it a little bit, but sometimes you make mistakes if you do that. So you can say 3,142 and 8 times 8 times 8. 8 to the power of 3, what is that? It's 512. But I would rather say, just press everything on the calculator. You can just say, 1 divided by 2, or you can say 0.5 times 4 divide 3 times 3,142 times, and you can even say 8 to the power of 3. Otherwise, just put a bracket in. And I just get my answer 1072.469 da da da. But now you can approximate it to if it's three significant figures, actually it's 1070. Okay, that's three significant figures. But they said they accept if you were writing 1072 to the nearest whole number. They even accept it, I see, if you were writing 1073. Or if you keep it in terms of pi, 1024 over 3 pi. They also, if you didn't work out the pi, if you left that pi, okay, and you were basically just simplifying that. So it's by saying 4, even ABC 6, multiply 512 or 8 to the power of 3. And if I make shift ABC again, I get this 1024 over 3 pi. All of them would have been correct. So what would they give marks? Definitely when you substitute there and then for your final answer. Okay, let's just go to the next page. Okay, and on the next page, it's question 25. It's nice. It's just one question on the page. Oh, and this is nice. This looks like functions. So if I'm going to look at functions, f and g, such, and where is that in the textbook? It's going to be 231, example 7. So I think let's first go to functions and let's just revise a little bit there. I think it's part of chapter 6. We can now check. So page 231, so it's example 25. Okay. It's composite functions because it's G and F. So this is more or less the example that they gave you there. Example 27, example 7. I didn't tell you the page. It's on page 231. Do you see that? And it's in mathematics book 1. Okay. And that this is going to be in chapter 6, as I said to you. Now, what do we usually do when we have two functions? We start from the back. So we're first going to work out f minus 2. Okay. And then as soon as that answer, we're going to substitute in g. And that's what. So I got 6 and then g6 and I got my final. And I can just put it like that. Okay. So that is basically. So if I put it like this and I start from the back, I start with g. So I will first go to g, the formula g, and first substitute -2. And then that answer I will put. So just remember, I always start, that's not a nice, but I start from the back. I start with that one that's the number is the closest to. Okay, so let's just go to that number, to the question paper. The next page. And bring it a little bit down. Okay. So I'm just going to say that I prefer writing it just down, that it's here a bit more in my, it's almost like I get used to. This is F, this is G. Okay. So if they ask me like this, start from the back or the one that's closest to the number. So I'm first going to work out F2. So I go to 2 and I substitute it in F, to F. And I'm going to get 3 minus 8. And I get negative 5. Okay. And then I go to G and I substitute that negative 5. And I get negative 5 squared and I get 25. And then I can just end up by saying GF2 is equal to 25. Doesn't matter. I think in this case, as soon as they see that you got the first result, and then for the final result. Okay, now solve the equation. Now just be careful. This is another. This F refers to that part. So meaning you must substitute that in. But I just want to show you, I had an example in the textbook I want to refer you to, and that is question 25b. Okay. I just want to say, oh yeah, this one is a bit more challenging. So the question I just want to show, it's page 234 and it's in part 1. So and then it's chapter 6. Just if they bring in. Okay, so that was solve the equation. This is one is a bit more challenging. So basically, in this case, and it's just B. Now, because it's HH, you're going to take this and put it in. And then you get a formula for HHX. Do you see there? And now, this is all I want to show you. HHX, because they said here, okay, look, they said HHX is equal to 83. Do you see? So now you just take this and you put it equal to 83. That's what I did there. Okay. And then you just solve the equation. It's an equation. It's a linear equation. And you get the value of x. Okay. So let's just go. That one is not so difficult because it's not a double composite there. So if I go there, but remember, it can be more difficult in the next year. So if I'm just going to check here. As I said, we are working with that top. So meaning, if I work with this, if I have fx equals 5 minus x, I'm going to put that. So I'm going to say 3 minus 4x equals 5 minus x. Okay, there you see, I bring it. Now I just solve it. So I think rather take the x to this side because this is big. So I'm going to just say, and take then this, doesn't matter actually. You can leave it a negative also. So it's 3 minus 5 is negative x plus 4x, doesn't matter. This is negative 2 is equal to 3x. Now divide 2 and I divide 2. So therefore x is equal, no, it's can see. Sorry. It becomes a little bit long there. Okay. I don't divide 2. You also make that mistake, so please don't make that mistake because you focus here, that's why. So that's a mistake. I divide with the value in front of x. So now you see. If I don't divide by 2, I divide by 3. That's why it's sometimes better to have rather, I should have rather, just left this one on this side, bring that one over, leave that one because it's just an unnecessary mistake, but it costs you marks. And then get negative 3x equals 2. And then I divide negative 3 and I divide negative 3. And I also get that x equals negative 2 over 3, where here also x equals negative 2 over 3. So x is equal to negative 2 over 3. And that's how you do it. So again, I think as soon as you put that substitution, if they sing, you are bringing that f, and then for your final answer. And that's how you do it.